Let's go out to Shawnee, Oklahoma, and talk to Deidre. What's up, Deidre?
Hi, how are you?
Partying. How about you?
I'm good.
Awesome. What's up?
Yes, I have a question. I am a single mom by choice, which means I used a donor insemination when I had my daughter.
Okay.
And she is 6 years old. And since she was about 4 years old, she keeps, she knows we're open about how she was conceived and everything, but she tells a lot of people, I don't have a dad. Like random people. It almost feels like she mom shames me about it. And I try to explain to her that how families come in all different shapes and sizes, and I had you on purpose this way. And she just doesn't get it, and I don't really know how to handle it.
Can I ask you some hard questions?
Yeah.
Promise?
Yeah.
We're friends? Okay. Are you ashamed of it?
No. I think it's really neat, and I'm proud of it,
so
actually.
Why would you care in the world what a 5 or 6 year old has to say?
I just, maybe not so much shame, but, you hear about the stigmas of how kids are raised by, just a mom, and, I don't want her to feel like she's missing out on anything, but.
But she is. I mean, she's missing out on a dad, right?
Yeah.
So there is, like, you don't want that, but there is. And I think you can make a great home and life for her.
Yes.
But also, it's like it's a both and or an either or, right?
Yes.
And so I think there's some truth to that. Here's the hard reality is she does have a biological father somewhere.
Yes. And he was I picked an open donor.
Okay.
And she knows that when she's 18,
okay,
she's allowed to pursue it.
Awesome. Okay. Is that person interested in that pursuit when they're 18?
I don't know. It was through a sperm bank. Okay. And I think basically all they do is just hand them paperwork of what they have.
Okay.
And it's up to you, which I will do whatever she wants.
Sure.
But I try to also, and we're friends on like Facebook. We have a private Facebook with the other moms. And I say, you got 23 other half siblings that, none of them have a dad. And they're all doing good.
Allegedly. and please don't put that on her.
No.
Because the way you're saying that is there's 22 other ones that are doing great and you're the oddball here. And I don't think that's accurate.
Yeah, that's true.
Every one of those kids is going to wonder, who am I? And every one of those kids is going to wonder, where am I from? And every one of those kids is going to wonder the question that all children ask, which is, why didn't dad want me? And they don't understand the complexity of modern science and technology and the abilities that we all have now. And so those questions are going to remain. And I think the challenge is not to squash those questions or to beat them out of a kid, not literally, but figuratively, and to truly honor those questions because they're existential, right? I mean, they're spiritual in a way. They're woven into us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's providing a context for safety to ask any and all questions. And I also think it's very important to have conversations about, there are private conversations. There are private things that we talk about, mother and daughter, that are not to be shared with other adults. And if she chooses to share those things, then she is choosing to opt out of some sort of thing that she loves, like accountability. Does that make sense?
Yes, I didn't understand how she's, I'm very open about it. And
so do you understand how she, but let me say it like this. She sees a mom who's incredibly open, talks about anything with a 6-year-old, which I think you should be pretty careful. There's a difference between openness and oversharing, right? My friend Rachel Cruz says, share, don't scare. There's a sense of, and I think you nailed it on the head. I picked you. Of all the kids in the world, I chose you. Like that's really important language. But you can understand that when she sees such an open mom talking about anything and everything, and there's no shame, and let's talk about it all, that then all of a sudden there's just some other adults that she likes and that you seem to like, that she starts having the conversation and it's like, "Show, what are you doing?" And a 6-year-old, that's a hard toggle for a 4, 5, and 6-year-old. Learning the social nuance and what's cool and what's not cool. And here's my concern. My concern is she sees you wince, or she feels your tension or anxiousness, and she will then make that a problem that she has to solve. And that's why I asked you, the first question I asked you is, are you ashamed of this? Or are you questioning your choice? Because she's going to absorb that, and that questioning is going to come off as she's questioning me. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's more of how she says it to people. It's like a pity for her. I'm the only one who doesn't have a dad. No, you're not. There are a lot of kids out there that don't have dads. There's a lot of kids that do have dads that don't want anything to do with them.
Right.
You
But she's 6. And that's hard. That's a hard thing to process for a 6-year-old. And in her world, you and I can tell the difference between, hey, that lady's just on boyfriend number 4 and that guy's on wife number 5. For her, all her friends have dads.
Yeah.
There's a paternal figure. And when you and I even both know all her friends, that's not even true.
Right.
But in her 6 or 7-year-old little mind, it is.
Yeah.
And so one of the questions that young children are constantly asking, and this is an unconscious question: do I belong? 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 And some kids, when they feel like they don't belong, they shut the system down. Other kids, when they feel like they don't belong, they race out to pull the bullets out of everybody else's gun. It becomes a tool, right?
Okay.
And so you just have a daughter who's learning from her mom that we can talk about anything whenever we want. And she's probably doing what my daughter did and weaponizing that a bit. And if she can get some pity, then adults will bend down and look her in the eye and talk to her in a quieter voice and say, "Oh, but you're loved." And that gives her exactly what she's looking for. So the goal as a parent is not to shut the questions down. It's to give her those things in other areas so that she doesn't have to go searching for it here.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does she understand the difference between private conversations and not?
We're working on it.
Okay.
I sometimes have to explain to her that, things we talk about, not all people, at her age are going to understand and talk about. So don't go sharing with your friends everything.
Well, and so I remember one time my son, he's probably 8 or 9, he said something or did something, and we got in my truck, and I looked at him and said, "Dude, will you just be cool?" And I could tell on his face, I remember laughing. Like, he has no idea what the phrase, "Dude, will you just be cool," means. He did not know what that meant. And if I had looked at one of my grown-up buddies who had said the exact thing and had said, "Dude, will you be cool?" they would have known, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that. Okay. And so I had to be very explicit. So if we talk about something, if she asks a question like, "Mommy, why don't I have a daddy?" and you've answered that question 500 times.
Yes.
You can go with the answer that you've given her that's age appropriate, that's not some big over explanation or some under explanation or some dishonesty, but like a good, straightforward, here's the answer. Followed by, and this is a private conversation between mom and the little girl that she loves more than anything. Okay. And what does private mean? And so my kids know the difference between secrets and private things. And private is also a word we use for bathing suit covering areas of our bodies, like what is okay and what's not okay, and what's okay to be seen, what's okay for touch, all that kind of stuff. We have that conversation. So the word private means not embarrassed or shame. Private means incredibly special.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And so private means something that this is for me. You see what I'm saying? And not in a, nobody can see this because it's shameful or gross. No, opposite.
Okay.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes. Yes, it does.
But I want to go back to the very beginning. I want you to make peace with the world that you've created.
Yes.
Are you at peace with it?
Of how I decided to have her on my own?
No, I'm 100% confident there. I'm getting the sense, and tell me I'm off because I could be way out to lunch here. I'm getting the sense that either it's more difficult or you weren't anticipating these questions, or the explanations aren't working. It's just different than you felt or thought or hoped for.
I didn't think it would happen this soon. I thought
okay.
these kind of things happen when they're like 13.
Oh, man. Okay.
And
That's
she's
fair.
very smart for her age and talks like a little adult and takes things in like a little adult. Maybe that is because it's just me and her. But when she was like 4 and she started asking these kind of questions, I'm like, oh, okay, where's the book for this? And, because this is a simple, this is a unique situation. Not everyone in Shawnee, has done this.
I can imagine that number is very small.
Yes.
But there is a couple of great books. I don't have them off the top of my head on Amazon that you can find and that are just good reading books that walk through this. And it may be great if you can, maybe these Facebook groups can help. If you can find somebody who's a teenager or an adult who was conceived this way that would be able to talk to your daughter in some sort of high level relationship kind of way. It might be good to have some like a light out ahead of this path here for her.
Okay.
And it might be good for you to have some parents down the road. Have you spent some time with them?
Other women that have done this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of them they're a little on the far end side, almost want to say like man haters a lot of times.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of hard to find one that, just did this because it was her time and just didn't have the best relationships to wait for the right one.
Gotcha. So I think it's worthy of finding 1 or 2 mentors that you can have on text thread that you can text and be like, whoa, my 8-year-old just asked this. And they'll be like, yeah, it's going to be weird. Here's how we ask this. I think that's super, super valuable for you.
Okay. Yes. I'll look into that.
Let me give you one last little tidbit. She can never become your best friend.
Okay.
She can't carry the weight of the adult decisions that you have made and have to make moving forward.
Right.
25 is the cutoff that I give folks.
Okay.
21, you can take your kid to get a tattoo and a drink. That's fine. All that's fine. 25 is when you can transition to like, no, we're peers. We're buddies. Okay. And there's still that weird, like, we're not going to talk about sex. We're not going to talk about some of that stuff, but we can talk about a lot more in a friend kind of way. But man, she can't handle that weight of that relationship. She needs to see her mom have grown-up mom friends.
Okay.
That's a really important gift for her.
Okay.
But let her ask all questions. They're all okay, and they're all worthy, and they're all good. Let's work really hard on upstream. Where are moments that you are putting your hands on her face during a day, hopefully every day?
Yes.
Where are moments when you are getting down on eye level or getting down on all fours and just you're playing Wolfpack 2 or whatever weird thing she's imagining? Or when there's no talking and she's just tired and y'all just color together next to each other. Where are those moments constantly popping up, and they're going to have to be intentional? Where those come so that she doesn't have to have these big, emphatic, dramatic moments to gain adult attention, adult care, and adult love. They're going to come along the way. And she's going to push the boundaries, and she's going to find out what's cool and what's not cool. And she's going to have to learn social situations and things like that. And that's where the conversation about privacy is really important. But all told, it's both and. You're a mother who loves her daughter and you chose her. And she's not going to have dad. There's both of those things. Both those things are true. And she does have a dad that she's going to meet someday. Maybe. So understand there's going to be a lot of complexity there. There's going to be a lot of stuff that it's going to be different than a quote unquote traditional childhood. And I know it's super hip and cool to be like, there's no such thing. There is such thing. And so understand that she's going to have ups and downs and hard questions and easy questions and softballs and Nolan Ryan fastballs. That's just part of parenting. And it always comes earlier than you think. All the questions, all the hard ones, they come earlier than you think.